It's a game day ritual. Run the ball like Mitchell, or you can be like Reynolds and Skiffle. Give it to Johnston and he'll get triple. Pass it to Cleary, you know he'll run the pitch. Score points like Jabojevic. I'm game day fit, no need to switch. Cooking up like Cookie Man's in the kitchen. Who's that on the wing? It's Sivo. Score, try and do the Gafrino. Don't get too rowdy or too keen, or you'll end up like Hassan Tino. Get a 40-20 like DCE. Run the ball like hectic cheese. Support runner, that's Pappenhausen, but I still got Teddy at the SCG.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Final Siren podcast. It's been a little while, but footy season's back. We're back. Boys, start us off so far today. How are we doing this afternoon? And are we looking forward to doing some ladder predictions? Faraz, we'll start off with you.
Yeah, very keen, mate. The season's finally here. I know we had the Vegas cameo, but having it back in Australian soil, prime time, yeah, just can't wait, man. It's been a long off-season, obviously, for us Broncos fans, but can't wait to get back into it.
For sure. And Lockie, what about yourself? Have you got any ladder predictions today that might shock us?
Yeah, there's a couple there. You probably won't. You probably could pick some of them, but yeah, it's good to be back. NRL season's back. Means the content's back. That's the main thing. Just keen to have everything back. AFL starts tonight as well. NRL's back after Vegas. Everything's just coming along nicely again. So can't wait to strap in and go again this season.
Well, definitely. Without further ado, boys, we actually didn't discuss this pre-stream, but do you reckon we start off with round one previews first, or should we do the ladder predictions?
I reckon we'll just go ladder prediction first, then we'll head into the deep dive into round.
Perfect. So to avoid taking too long, last year we did it position by position, person by person. This year, each person's just going to name their full ladder. Should we go 1 to 17 or 17 to 1?
We'll go 17 to 1. I like going from the bottom.
Yeah, perfect. No problem. Faraz, you can start us off, mate. Let's hear your ladder prediction.
Yeah, just have to rush this in quickly. I have Tigers coming last. I just don't, didn't see enough trials. I've got the Dragons coming 16, Bulldogs 15, the Raiders 14, Dolphins in 13, Gold Coast in 12, Newcastle 11, Cowboys 10, Manly 9th, and just scraping to the top 8 is Cronulla at 8th spot. Then you've got the Warriors, South Sydney 6th, Sydney Roosters 5th. Parramatta as my smoky for top 4. I reckon they'll have a good year. Melbourne in 3rd, Brisbane 2nd, Penrith 1st. I just think Penrith, my prediction again.
Fair enough. Okay. Lockie, what about you?
So Wooden Spooners, I've got the Dragons. I think there'll be just too many barbecues again. 16th, I've got Dolphins. 15th, Tigers. 14th, Bulldogs. 13th, Titans. 12th, Raiders. 11th, Cowboys. 10th, Sharks. 9th, Manly. 8th, Knights. 7th, Rabbitohs. 6th, Roosters. 5th, Warriors. 4th, same as Faraz, I've got the Eels. 3rd, Storm. 2nd, Broncos. And 1st, Penrith.
Fair play there. So we've all got different wooden spooners. Faraz had Tigers. Lockie had Dragons. I have Raiders for the wooden spoon this year. So Raiders 17th. In 16th, I've got Dolphins. In 15th, I've got the Dragons. 14th, Tigers. 13th, the Bulldogs. 12th, I've got the Sharks. 11th, Titans. 10th, Cowboys. 9th, Warriors. 8th, Roosters. 7th, Eels. 6th, Eagles. 5, Storm. 4, I've got the Knights. So for me, top 4 smoky, the Knights. Rabbitohs in 3rd, Penrith in 2nd, and I've just got to back the boys to go first place this year. So Broncos in 1st. We went through pretty quickly on those ones. Is there any ladder picks there that you boys want to sort of expand on that you think other people might not agree with? You sort of want to explain yourself?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think Parramatta. I think the thing is with Parramatta, the reason why I have them as high as 4th, if you look at them closely as a team, last year before the season even started, they lost Ryan Matthews to suspension. They lost Sean Lane to injury. Dylan Brown was out for 9 weeks. This team just kept getting injury bar. You look at the start of the season as well. They played teams off the back end of the bye, so they had an extra week to prep against Parramatta. Look, I just think if they can be healthy and fit, they could be a hard side to beat, especially that fullback. Mitchell Moses Brown on their day is as good as any halves. Yeah, just to be tough to beat in Parramatta.
Yeah, definitely. That's fair enough.
I think my team I'd have to expand on is the Dolphins. I've got them in 16th. I think, they've added signings to their squad. They've added Flegler, Farnworth, Avarillo, and a few other youngsters or just depth signings. But I think the Dolphins, most of their signings are just outside backs. All they've done is added to their outside back stocks, which half their squad I feel like is just outside backs. And I think losing Tom Gilbert in preseason to an ACL is a huge loss, leadership-wise, and just through the middle itself. Because they've got Matt Plath, who's playing lock now, I've heard, and he's only played a handful of NRL games. So, yes, they've added Farnworth and Flegler, which are going to be big keys for them. And they've got Hammer there still. But I think just their halves pairing is what's going to let them down again. I don't think they've got enough they've got enough halves talent. They just don't have the X factor there to get those teams in close games over the line.
Yeah, for sure.
Second-year wonders. I think last year was a honeymoon effect. Like, they sort of first year in, so we knew that they were going to do better than everyone expected anyway. But I think second-year blows, I think they're just going to struggle a little bit more this year.
Well, yeah, exactly. For last year, their first few games, they got up and were really, really great for the start of the season. But the end of the season, honestly, they were one of the most out-of-form teams. They lost to the Wooden Spooners, the Tigers, in one of the rounds as well. So, I mean, injuries were a big part of that. But, yeah, I agree. Cody Nikorima and Sean O'Sullivan, I reckon it's definitely a skillful halves pairing, but it's not exactly – I'm not sure if Sean O'Sullivan's ready to lead around a team as a full-fledged 7
You just don't have the kicking game there.
Yeah, definitely.
And who's going to be like the directing 7 that's going to lead the team around the park? Both of them
exactly.
are sort of like 5'8".
Because O'Sullivan, he's definitely a decent 7, but he's not really. I don't see him as a directing 7. And then you've got Isaiah Katoa, who hasn't made the team, and he's not ready yet.
That's a shot.
I think to be a 7 for the NRL. So I reckon he's ready for 6, but I'm not sure if he's ready for 7, Isaiah Katoa, just yet. So I agree with that, Lockie. I've gone with Dolphins 16th as well. But I think the major shock one for most people in mind would probably be Knights top 4. I really like what I saw from the Knights. If Ponga has the same or at least a similar season this season to what he did last season, I can see Knights being back up there again and being competitive. I don't think they'll really do too much again in finals. I think they'll maybe make it past the first week into the second week. They can maybe head to prelims. I don't really see them making a grand final, the Knights, but I just think they have enough talent to regular season finish top 4 spot. And then Seagulls as well for me. I've got them in 6. I really liked the Seagulls roster this year, even before the first game in Vegas. After Vegas at the moment, I know it's round 1, but I'm sold on how they look so far. So, yeah, Seagulls and Knights for me. Those are two big ones that I don't think too many people have in their top 8, let alone Knights being in top 4. But yeah, so we've each got some very different ladders there, which is good to see. Nice to see the different types of thinking as well. Now, round 1, it's already started, but it's also still approaching. Bit of a weird one. What did you boys make of the Vegas games on Sunday?
Can I just add one thing before we move on?
Yeah, no problem.
So there's reports coming out as we speak that Spencer Leniu has pleaded guilty to the charges, and he'll be facing the judiciary after round 1. But Spencer has apologised to Ezra and his family in an interview, and he has pled guilty to saying what he said.
Holy cow. Okay. Well, let's discuss that then, boys, before we move on. So I was going to bring that up once we talked about the Vegas games, but Spencer Leniu, how long is he facing on the sideline, do you boys reckon, that he's pled guilty?
I would have to say 7 to 8 weeks. Considering Montoya got 5 for a homophobic slur, considering how much the NRL has cracked down on racism in the game and the Indigenous players and Torres Strait Islanders, I can't imagine that this suspension is going to be less than what Marcelo Montoya said. Not saying that they're not as bad as each other. Of course, they're both bad. None of it should be said. But I think that the way the game wants to move forward with all the Indigenous players and their culture and respect and welcome to country that we're doing more often now, I think that the suspension should be much harder. And considering that he said it straightly to Ezra, we knew the context behind it. He wasn't just having a bit of banter or anything. Even though it's not banter, he meant what he said.
Yeah, definitely. I can agree with that. Faraz, what about you?
Yeah, no, 100% agree with Lockie with everything he's just said. Look, He said in the interview after with Triple M, it's all fun and games. It's not all fun and games. I don't care if you're joking whatsoever. There's no room for that sort of language in our game, especially racism. As remember in tears after the game. Look, if they're not dead serious about removing racism from the game, they'll suspend it for at least 8 weeks. At least 8 weeks. You know, you could even argue even more, but I'll say just 8, give him a lesson because he hasn't really been involved in much of this before. But yeah, look, 8 weeks I'll say approximately. And look, shout out to Ezra Manwell, would you, brother was supporting you through the thing. So, yeah, a lot of players coming out defending him, which is great to see from the NRL.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I agree with what you've both said. I think it definitely can't be any less than 5 weeks. It has to be more. It has to be 5 or more weeks, like it was for Marcelo Montoya. And I consider racism, considering everything that's happened with rugby league. I do think racism is sort of on that level, and if not, should be taken more seriously, just due to everything that's gone on within the NRL recently. I think I'm saying with you boys. I reckon 7 or 8 weeks plus. And now he's pled guilty. I reckon that's about fair.
Can I just quickly add one more thing as well? I'm not here to really like dive in deep with this. It's already a sensitive topic, but for the people who are saying that, I've heard much worse. You know, I brush it off and all that. This is professional rugby league. These guys, kids watch these kids. Like they're role models to these kids. You know, you're like promoting this racial behavior. Like it's okay if you say you and your mate have a joke, but for others it's not a joke. I mean, if Ezra's in tears, clearly he meant something. He's a proud Indigenous man. You got to educate yourself here. Like the amount of they're just as bad as Spencer, honestly, defending him in this situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'll just add as well, like it also hasn't just affected Ezra, it's affected the whole community.
100%.
Latrell said yesterday in an interview at an airport when they got back from Vegas, he said that it's brought scars and wounds to himself and his family and all of his community in his Indigenous tribe. We're not going to talk on this long, but I'll just say also that if there's people that want to be in the comment sections on Instagram, including our own page or YouTube or something, you will be blocked immediately because we don't stand for any by that. If you want to go along and think you're top shit by saying all this stuff and going along with it and trying to stand out in the comment sections, you'll be blocked and removed immediately.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. But yeah, I'm happy that we've just touched on that. So that's breaking news. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. Look, I actually had no clue that had happened. So Vegas games, boys. Other than the Spencer Leniu Ezra Mam thing, moving past that, I think the Vegas first round was a pretty big success over there in America. What did your boys make of the first round? Obviously, it was a bit scrappy, but in general, the marketing that went into it and everything like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, the crowd attendance speaks for itself. It speaks volumes. You know, a lot of people showed up from not only America citizens, but yet people from Australia that their own teams were even playing. They made the travel up there, and ticket pricing, as we know, is not cheap. So there's clearly a lot of like passion put into this. You know, to also have sports bet on their like gambling product, that's going to work as well. That's the whole aim. Look, I'm not saying for me personally, I enjoyed it too much. Vegas, you know, I love it being traditional back at home, but clearly, from a marketing side of view, like to raise money, everything, it's clearly working out really well, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Lockie?
I think being first year, there's still a lot of room for improvement. It was like, as they said in an interview, Peter V'landys and Andrew Abdo, this year was kind of just the test dummy kind of thing. I think there's definitely room for improvement. Personally, I didn't watch a lot of the game. I was busy on Sunday. But I think for me, it didn't really feel like round one. It just felt more like a production display.
100%.
Yeah.
Like no one wants to sit down on Sunday at 11:30 and be like, "Oh, footy's back, round one." Everyone's used to Thursday night footy. Get home from work, get dinner ready, and then you get ready for kickoff Thursday night.
It's also a bit frustrating for us Broncos and Roosters fans. Obviously, the Roosters have to wait 2 weeks essentially to play the next game. Then we got next Thursday, so the wait's a bit longer. That's a bit frustrating as well. If you want to count that in.
Yeah.
I think overall they did pretty well for it being their first year. I think it'll be bigger next year for sure if they continue to go down the Vegas road. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it was more a production display than an NRL round.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It didn't feel like an opening to an NRL season. I personally, as much as I thought it was a huge success over there in America, I don't associate NRL season openings with being on Sunday afternoons. It's something about it just didn't feel right being 12:30 on a Sunday, the first game. Other than that, I thought it was pretty good. I thought the Manly versus South Sydney game was pretty entertaining to watch. As a Broncos fan, obviously, I didn't really enjoy the Broncos versus Roosters game, but there was some good defensive display in that. I think, obviously, the American fans seem to enjoy it, and they seem to be getting around it. So hopefully, I would like to see next year. I would prefer if it didn't open with the Vegas rounds, but I understand if that's what they have to do. But I prefer if it didn't open with the Vegas rounds, and if we could see some different teams there next year. I'd like my idea for next year. I think Warriors versus Storm and Panthers versus Eels would be some good games to send over there, just because they're four huge fan bases in the game, all very, very successful teams as of recent. So I guess we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah,
for sure. As for the game results, boys, the Seagulls took on the South Sydney Rabbitohs in that first game at Vegas over there, and the Seagulls ended up winning 36-24. What did you boys make of this game? Any standout players? What did you reckon?
Yeah, look, I'll go straight into my shout out, Luke Brooks, man. If that's what we're seeing at him in round one, I can't freaking wait for this whole year. He looked like a free man, honestly. No pressure on him to lead the team around. Just do this thing, run the ball around. Look for his man inside out. He threw a few passes that were wayward, but that's the thing. When you grow that confidence, you believe in yourself, you back yourself. Score that try at the end. It got me a bit of emotion, to be honest. Just seeing the struggle he's had. People calling for him to be H. Not much like believing in him. Yeah, look, that was a really good game for him. I think Tommy Toto, obviously, a few try assistants there just set up the tone really well. South Sydney, at 20-12, people would probably think this would be a runaway game for them, but Manly fought back, and look, good signs from Manly. It's only round one. Defensive, the is going to be fixed, but we know the Rabbitohs. They can score points from anywhere.
Yeah, very true. You shouldn't really take too much from round one games, but what about you, Lockie?
Oh, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to touch heaps on this game because I didn't see any of it. I saw like 10 minutes at the very end. From what I saw, it was pretty much just, well, I mean, the only thing I saw was Jason Saab making an intercept, to be honest, from the whole game. So I can't really touch it. But it was always going to be a 50-50 result. A lot of people had Rabbitohs. A lot of people had Manly. Teams were pretty even, but Manly were too strong on the day. And also helped. I made a bit of cheeky profit on the sports bet on that game as well. So can't complain on that one.
Yeah, for sure.
And Noah falling one leg short.
We don't. I did not put anything on. I'm not legal of betting age, so that did not happen. That did not happen. So, for me personally, Turbo, he had a game. Ben Travojevic, for me, has won that second rower jersey for Manly. I'm not too sure how Josh Schuster fits back in. Maybe if they want to move Jake Travojevic to front row and put Schuster at lock.
I like Jake at prop. No,
yeah.
I like the lock. I just can't.
I love Jake at lock too much. So Schuster might have a bench spot waiting for him. But at the same time, Ben Travojevic was really good. You can't move Hamole or Lakawatu. So I don't really know how Schuster fits back into that team. But yeah, Luke Brooks, Tom Travojevic, both were really good. Jason Saab was class. I hope his hamstring injury isn't too serious. I think they said maybe 4+ weeks. So hopefully it's not that serious. If it is, hopefully he gets a speedy recovery. And Ruben Garrick in the centres actually looked quite good. He had a pretty good game. As for the Rabbitohs, I thought Latrell Mitchell looked pretty decent from his full game there. And other than that, Richie Kenner, I saw him getting a lot of hate after the game. He did score 2 tries for the Rabbitohs. His defense wasn't up to par, so obviously they'll be looking forward to getting Jack Whiten back.
But to be fair, center's not his position, so he did an okay job.
He is a winger, so that's Yeah, I'm not too sure why they didn't, because I think Jacob Gagai's played centre, so I'm not sure why they didn't maybe swap Gagai and Kenner, but that's all right. Gagai was pretty good on debut as well. And then for the next game, Roosters versus Broncos, boys. What did you boys make of this? Obviously, all three of us being Broncos fans.
You want to start, Lockie?
I think credit's where credit's due. Roosters were just a better team on the day. Tedesco played really well. Sam Walker looked good. I just think from what I saw the last 30 to 35 minutes, I think Broncos just looked like they were a bit razzled, and people can put it on jet lag, people can put it on all these different things about conditions and all this shit being in America, but that's not how it works. Broncos were a much worse team. They made stupid errors, just players trying to be too fancy and flash. They lost all shape, just three up the middle, spread it wide, get to your kick. It was more just make a run 15 meters than just flick past it to absolutely no one. Example, Selwyn Cobbo. But yeah, I just think Broncos, they didn't look like what they did. People can call us pretenders. People will make media outlets about it. Broncos won't be there this year because they lost round one. But there's 26 weeks to go. We'll be there at the end. There's nothing to look into for that one. We lost. Fair play. Move on to next Thursday. We've got the Rabbitohs. All you can do is move up from here.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Faraz? What did you make of this game?
Well, yeah, I was heading to this game with a bit of nerve because, obviously a lot of teams that come off a grand final, that they start the season a bit slow, like round one. I even said on another podcast that I did tip the Roosters originally. I know I got a lot of crap from you guys from that, but look, generally I was a bit nervous about this game, and it proved true. Brisbane were just rattled there. They made silly errors from the start. They just did that. Roosters looked hungry. Let's be honest. Yeah, there's no two ways about it. The Roosters just wanted much more. Brisbane, whether it's grand final hangover, whether they just got too excited in Vegas, I'm not too sure what it was. But like I said, credit where it's due. The Roosters were just hungry. Tedesco had a great game. Luke Keary defensively was great. That tackle on Jordan Ricky, that doesn't get spoken of about. If he scores that, Brisbane hit the lead. I would win the game as well. Sam Walker was good with his kicking game. The forwards were just there. So, yeah, look, for Brisbane, I wouldn't be too worried just yet. It's only round one. This is called – I'm not saying it's a loss we needed, but sometimes – it's those loss that gives you that wake-up call. So for the Brisbane point of side, not everything can go your way. So hopefully it bounce back. And the Roosters, they just start the season. Much important win for them.
Yeah, definitely. For me, again, like you both said, it's not too much to look into. It's round one. Round one is round one. It's never going to mean too much, really. We lost. The Roosters were just better. It's as simple as that. We did look... Especially in the first half, we were on top for the first, I'd say, I don't even know how long it was.
5-6 minutes only.
Yeah, 5-6 minutes. And then Brendan Piakura, concussion, moved Paddy Carrigan to the second row. After that, we lost our shape. We didn't look very good once Paddy moved to second row. So,
despite the poor performance, I'd give Ezra a bit of slack. Because he didn't really play any 40 at all during the preseason, so obviously he was going to come into this rusty with no real preparation. So, it's going to happen. And he got a big shot and still kept playing on, so that's a bit of give respect to him for that. I'm not too worried about Ezra.
He better be careful if balls on his tail.
Exactly. But I just think Adam Reynolds' kicking game was a bit off. We knew going into it that whoever had the better kicking game would probably win the game. Sam Walker and Luke Keary were on for most of the night. The Broncos just didn't want to contest any kicks for some reason. But like you both said, it's round one. We move on. We head to the next week. We're playing against the Rabbitohs soon. So just set the focus to the Rabbitohs. I'm sure we'll be fine. Like Lockie said, 26 more weeks of footy to go. I'm sure you'll see us playing in finals. I'm sure you'll see us maybe making it back to the big dance again this year. So it's not too much to worry about. It's only round one. Now, heading into what we say, I guess there's the second week of round one. Tonight, Knights versus Raiders, boys. This is Knights home ground. What do we reckon? What's our tips and predictions for this game? Either one of you can go ahead.
Knights 13 plus.
Boom.
Greg Marzu anytime. Easy as. I think Knights will just be too strong in Newcastle. I think Raiders will struggle this year. Don't get me wrong, Raiders are a team that will always put up a fight no matter the result. They'll keep going to the end. That's how Ricky Stewart coaches. That's how he's always been. But I think Newcastle, this year they're going to be a good team. And I think that tonight they'll show and they'll stamp a point on a team to watch.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Faraz?
Yeah, honestly, look, I touched on a bit this the morning. I'll click up with the result. I reckon Newcastle, but I think it's going to be a thrilling game, honestly. I mean, the Raiders, we saw last year in the elimination final, they didn't really have any pressure. I don't know what you guys are laughing at, but they didn't have any pressure, and they turned up. I've never, oh, no. Okay, but I just think Newcastle have too much class at home. I'll go Greg Marju anytime, Hudson Young anytime, and Bradman Best to score a try as well. I think Knights by 4, 24-20. I do think Raiders will lead at halftime, though. That's my sort of bold call in this game. But I think Newcastle just get shown.
Don't mind that at all. I think the Knights are just too strong. Like I said, I think they're top 4 quality this year. I've got the Knights 13 plus, but I think it will be scrappy. I think it will not be too much of a high scoring game. And I reckon, like Lockie said, Greg Marsh is pretty certain to go over. I also think Tawala will go over. Both wingers for Newcastle to get a try tonight.
I have also got Greg Marzu as leading try scorer this year. So
there you do.
It's a good call. I think they'll definitely be heading to him a lot, especially with Dom Young no longer there. That opens up the door for Marju to score a few more tries because I don't think they'll head to Tawala as much. Tawala is not strong, not fast. He's a bit fast, but he's not too quick like Dom Young was.
That edge of Bradman Best and Greg Marsh is going to be hard to contain. Both are tough carries.
That left, I think they play left. They're going to be playing left edge this season, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they go tonight. Get the multis on, boys. Make sure you have Greg Marju in, and make sure you have Knights winning. I think you'll be all right tonight. Tomorrow evening, though, we've got Warriors versus Sharks in New Zealand. What do you boys reckon for this one?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Obviously, a big game for both sides. The Warriors, a lot of talk, can they back it up from last year where they're just a one-hit wonder, obviously at home. They're the favourites in this. For the Sharks, obviously, a lot of soul-searching. For Cronulla, this game is a bit important. Away from home, we really know that the fact that they can't really be top-tier side. So this game is a testament for them. If they can come away with a victory at Mount Smart Stadium against the Red Hot Warriors side and press the trials, it's going to do them a lot of confidence. Obviously, I definitely would like coming against his former side. Kirk Cable makes his Warriors debut. I think this game will be a bit closer, but I think the Warriors will just run away with it. I think they'll get a comfortable 1-12 victory. I'll go Warriors by 12. I'll go my mind, Kirk Cable anytime. And I reckon for Cronulla, we'll go Will Kennedy anytime.
Fair enough. What about you, Lockie?
We all know what the Warriors fans are like. The Warriors announced earlier today it's a sellout already. So we know they always show up in force when it comes to New Zealand. I think Warriors play very well off the back of home ground advantage in New Zealand. I think they're a very hard team to beat, no matter against anyone. I think on his return, everyone's going to be like, "Oh, it's because it's his first game back." But I think RTS goes over. I just think with SJ back in the team, he didn't play. I don't know if he played at all in preseason, but yeah, I just think RTS anytime, or you can always back Watasi also. So
yeah, for sure. For me, this is one of those ones where if it was in Cronulla, I'd be tempted to tip the Sharks.
Same.
Just because I feel like I don't actually rate the Warriors outside of New Zealand, but in New Zealand, like Lockie just said, the home crowd advantage. I reckon they're probably the team that best uses advantage of the home crowd to their advantage. I think the Warriors are the best team for that. So usually in New Zealand, I pretty much back them anytime they're in New Zealand. I think this will be Warriors 13 plus. And I back Sean Johnson to get a try against his former club, the Sharks. And for the Sharks, I reckon Ronaldo Mulatalo will probably grab one to start off the season. But yeah, for me, I think Warriors take that by a pretty handy margin. For the next game on Friday night, Storm versus Panthers. News that's just come out about this one, Cameron Munster is out of this clash. So that means I'm guessing it'll probably be Jonah Pezzett filling in at the 6. So, I mean, I think I know where you boys are going to go with this one already. Will the Storm's undefeated round 1 streak come to an end this Friday night? What do you boys reckon?
Yeah, it's coming to an end. Panthers by 36. They're going to absolutely demolish the Storm. That's my lock of the round, honestly.
Panthers by 36. My
They're just
goodness.
gonna,
Lockie, what about you?
their forward package is too strong, man.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I'm going to go Panthers by 14. I don't think they'll flog them. I think Storm, first round, we all know Storm, no matter who's out, they're still going to try to turn up, and no team is turning up to lose. So we know that Storm is going to be there to win, and we know that they'll definitely try their hardest. But I think Penrith will just have the edge over them. Anytime, I think Taylor May hasn't played in a while. He's back playing in the centres. He's an athletic kid. He just got unlucky last year. I think he did his ACL. So, I think Taylor May against Melbourne.
Have I given my anytime try score for this game?
No, I don't think you have.
I'll go Isaac.
Okay, well.
No, I'll go Isaac Tungo anytime.
Isaac Tango? No problem. What about you, Lockie?
I just said Taylor May.
Oh, shit. My bad. Sorry, my brain's not on. For me, Penrith will win. I don't see Fraser's vision with 30 by 36. I think round one's always scrappy. I see Penrith by, 16, 18 points. And I think anytime try scorer for me, I'm going to go Dylan Edwards to grab one in this contest. But I still think the Storm will show up. I think for the first half, Penrith will go into the sheds only leading by 6. I think it'll just be the second half they run away with it. But yeah, so that's Friday's games. Saturday afternoon, Eels versus Bulldogs. I always love watching the Eels versus Bulldogs games. Usually it's a pretty decent contest when both of them get up. What do you boys reckon? Who have you got in this one?
Yeah. Looking at the team list, man, I just think Parramatta will be too strong. The Bulldogs team, it's not a bad team on paper, but they're working out combinations. I like Parramatta this year, obviously. For me, they're my top 4 side. I'll go the Eels by 14. I think Bulldogs will be competitive, but it was just too much class, especially being a Parramatta. Anytime, I'm going to go a bit of outsider. Not really outsider because he's in the backs, but I'll go Sean Russell anytime. And for Bulldogs, I'll go Jackie Kiraz anytime.
Yeah, fair enough. Lockie, what do we reckon?
Same as Fraz. I think Eels would just be too strong. I think where the Bulldogs lose is in their halves pairing. You're coming up against Moses and Dylan Brown, and they've got Matt Burton and Drew Hutchison, where neither of them are like a natural half. Like Matt Burton, to me, still Matt Burton is a centre. I don't think 6 is the right jersey for him. And then Drew Hutchison, it sort of speaks for himself. Like he's up against Mitch Moses, which that's just going to be an absolute annihilation in kicking meters. So, I think Eels, they'll win well. I think 13 plus. Anytime. I reckon Will Penasini, even if he's up against Critter, I think he'll be against. I think Will Penasini is a gun of a kid and he will muscle his way over.
Yeah, I love that. Will Penasini should be up against Crichton. For me, I think it's the Eels. I can see a world where the Dogs get up for this one and grab an upset, but I think it will be the Eels. Anytime try scorer, I'm actually going to go with Stephen Crichton in his debut for the Bulldogs. I think he'll get over, but yeah, I think Eels will just be too strong in my opinion. Saturday night, we got the Titans versus the Dragons. This one for me is actually going to be a close game. I'm not too sure about what you boys think.
Nah, Titans will win well. Titans 13 plus. I think anytime try scorer.
There's a lot to pick from for this one.
Anytime try scorer, AJ Brimson, I think.
Fair enough. I like that. What about you, for us?
Yeah, look, a lot of people are giving the Dragons a bit of sniff here because there's no David Feeder or like Campbell, but you look at the fullback, Keon Kinney, he's still a gun of a player. He'll fit it really well. Their fullback still has Tino, Bo Former, Keenan Palasier fits the Loch Ness Titans debut. I do think this will be a bit closer than expected, but I think Titans and Seabus, they want to get off to a good start. I'll go the Titans by 10 in a high score game. I'll go Titans 34-24. Anytime, you just got to have a Campera, don't you?
Yeah, that's a fair pick. For me, this is 50-50. I think Dragons can get up, and so I want Dragons to get up. I
So,
want to say so bad that they will. I just think the Titans playing it on the Gold Coast, I've got to go the Titans 1-12 here. And for me, I think anytime try scorer, I'm going to go with Philip Sammy. I think he'll get over the line. I think it'll be, like Faraz said, I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I'm thinking something pretty much the exact same score. I think it'll be very high-scoring. I have to check what the over-under is on the points for that one. But both those teams, usually pretty high-scoring games between them. So we'll have to see what happens. And last game of the round, it's a 4X derby. It's the Dolphins versus the Cowboys. What do you boys reckon? Who's grabbing this one?
you go first, Lucky.
I think Cowboys. I don't like the Cowboys, but I'll always give them credit where I think they can win a game. And I think Sunday afternoon they'll definitely be too good for the Dolphins. Even being at Suncorp, Dolphins do like playing in Brisbane. Don't get me wrong, but I just think Cowboys. If you look at the team list, the firepower Cowboys have compared to Dolphins, I just think Cowboys are going to be too good. Probably 13 plus. At any time, I will go with Scott Drinkwater.
Yeah.
And that's one battle that's going to be good. Scott Drinkwater versus the Hammer.
100%.
Gun fullbacks, we know what's going to be happening there. So, but I think Scott Drinkwater will get over any time.
Fair enough, yeah. I can see that. And Faraz, what do you reckon here?
Yeah, just before I touch on my tip, another good match I'm looking forward to is the Battle of the Hookers, Marshall King versus Reece Robson. I love that matchup.
Yeah.
Defensively, both sound. Attacking wise can do a lot. For my tip, I really wanted to tip the Dolphins, but looking at the Haas pairing, just looking at the Cowboys pairing, Tom Gilbert's a massive loss. You lose a lot of yardage off the bench. I don't want because they did the upset last year. No one really picked them for it, but with that Haas pairing, Townsend can do the job. Tom Dennis is going. I go the Cowboys, but I think it'll be a bit closer, but they just got too much class. I go Cowboys by 10. I reckon any time we'll go to Leggy in the corner.
Fair enough. I think Dolphins will be right up for this. I think they'll get off to a pretty early lead, but I reckon,
You reckon they score first?
Well, I reckon Dolphins at one point. I'm not sure if they score first. I reckon at one point though they'll be leading by 12 or more, and I reckon Cowboys chase them down. Though I've got Cowboys by 4. I just think the Dolphins, like I said, was saying earlier, and like Lockie was saying, I don't rate them too much this year. I think they'll finish 16th. I'm not too sure. I think they look a bit under strength. I think they'll sort of hit the ground running fast, but I reckon late in the game when there's fatigue, I reckon the Cowboys bench will provide much more than the Dolphins bench will. So That's my tip. Obviously, the Tigers this week have the bye. And that just about wraps us up, unless you boys have anything else you want to mention.
No, I don't think so.
No, just got to start and see.
Perfect, no problem. Then in that case, I'll send it over to Lockie to end us off on this podcast.
Yes, it's been great to be back. First podcast back properly for the year and for the season. We're all keen to get going again this year. We are going to try post as much content as possible. We all are very busy with our own lives. And as we said with this podcast, family always comes first, no matter if you're in the comments or one of us. Family is always first priority. Make sure you like and subscribe, though, to the YouTube and follow us on Instagram at the Final Siren Podcast. That's where Noah makes all our graphics, and he will be posting whenever we go live and just a few other little posts we do here and there during the week. So follow on there. That's where you'll find most of our content, but here you'll find our in-depth analysis of each round and preview and reviews. So like and subscribe here as well. Follow over there. It's been Noah, Faraz, and myself again. And we'll see you in the next one.
Cheers, lads.